Mortgage purchase applications are at a 30-year low, leading some to believe that this will cause home prices to crash moving into the future. But the thing is, home purchase applications demand, buyer demand is already at a 30-year low. There's not much demand for housing out there in the US housing market as it stands now. Now, despite that, despite little demand, we are not seeing the national median sales price decrease. We're seeing an increase year over year, and the median sales price is trending flat. It's not going up much, it's not going down much, and that's with the little demand that we have. So if home prices are going to move down, what we need to see happen is home buyer demand decrease further from where it is today, or supply to drastically increase, creating that imbalance between supply and demand, which causes home prices to go down. So even though there's concern across the internet about these mortgage purchase applications and how little home buyer demand there is out there, the Federal Reserve is gearing up to cut their Fed funds rates. Mortgage rates have likely peaked, meaning that things will become more affordable for home buyers moving into the future, which should stabilize prices, if not cause prices to increase. I think we're at the bottom for home buyer demand right now. I don't think we're going to see things go lower than where they are today, at least not significantly lower. And if we're not already seeing home prices crash, they're not likely to crash across the country. One caveat here: home prices are very regional. There are places in Florida, there are markets in Florida, markets in Texas, boom markets during the pandemic that now have an excess supply of inventory and are at a higher risk of seeing prices come down. But broadly speaking, for the national housing market, especially in the Northeast, we aren't likely to see home prices come down in 2024 or 2025. I'm going to get into all of that in this video here, but before I do, my name is Liam O'Reilly. I'm a realtor with Jerry Riley Real Estate. If you have any real estate needs, all of my contact information is in the description. Reach out to me directly. I would be happy to help you. So this is the chart that we used for the thumbnail of the video. It shows the MBA Purchase Application Index. And we see here over on the right side of the screen, this is where we are today. We're below where we were in 2008 to 2012. We can see here back in 2010, 2011, mortgage purchase applications on this index were floating around the 200 mark. Now we're sitting at about the 150 mark. So very low for the mortgage purchase applications index. Again, this shows demand for mortgages, right? Mortgages are how people purchase property. So if there's low demand for mortgages, then demand for overall housing is low. We haven't seen these numbers since 1995. Now, demand for mortgages, this metric, the MBA Purchase Applications Index, has been floating around this level for about a year or so. We see here that in 2023, we were right around this level, and we're going to take a look at a different metric. Now, this chart mimics what we just saw. It mimics this here, but it's a little bit of a different measure, which is why you see the numbers are different in this chart. But we see here that the mortgage purchase application is at 225 points. If we go back to 2023, we see that August of 2023, we were actually at around 193, 189 points. So the mortgage purchase applications demand for mortgages was lower last year than it is this year. And again, we haven't seen home prices crash. So we've been at this level for about a year, and home prices haven't come down. Now, inventory is starting to build in some markets, but in other markets across the United States, inventory is still relatively low, which is holding up the median sales price across the country. I do think there will be regional dips in home prices, but overall, across the country, we're unlikely to see a massive housing market crash. Now, when we take a look into the meat of it, why aren't we likely to see a housing market crash? That's because most homeowners have a low mortgage rate. Most homeowners right now, 80% of homeowners have a mortgage rate under 5%. So we see here below 5%, 78.7% of homeowners have a rate below 5%, which is down from last year, but it's still very high. 60% of homeowners have a rate below 4%. Those are the majority of the mortgage holders out there. So all those people who have low rates, who bought their properties years ago or refinanced their homes years ago, do not want to give up those low mortgage rates. So we're unlikely to see a flood of inventory come into the market. Remember, if people are going to sell and give up their low mortgage rate, their option is to purchase another property at a higher mortgage rate, have a higher monthly payment, or rent, which rent has gone up across the country. The average rent in the US is around $2,000 per month. People are not incentivized to sell their properties right now and rent their home. And they're going to do everything they can to stay in their homes. We don't see many distressed sales right now, and we're unlikely to see it moving into the future. So, even though mortgage purchase applications are very low, it seems like this is the lowest they're going to get as as rates drop moving into the future. Now, when we take a look over here at the median sales price, this is what I was talking about. Median sales price is up 3.9% year over year. So we're still seeing prices increase on a yearly basis. Yes, there is a seasonal dip, which is natural in the housing market. You can see here that happened in 2022. That happened in 2023. That even happened in 2021. There was a seasonal dip in the median sales price, but things are remaining relatively flat, right? We're not seeing a steep decline in median sales price despite low demand throughout the country. And so the question you have to be asking yourself, I know I've said it in this video many times, I think that demand will start to come back as mortgage rates drop. But what you have to ask yourself as you're making your home purchase or your home sale decision is, what do you think will happen when interest rates drop, when mortgage rates start to come down? Do you think that will take buyers away from the housing market, reducing demand further, or will that bring more home buyers back into the housing market? Now, where the average home buyer payment is down year over year, and it is still high. It's at about $2,500 per month. Now, this includes taxes and insurance. So this is their total housing payment if they put 20% down to purchase the median price property, which is still high. It's still about $500 per month over where rent is right now. But as mortgage rates come down, those two numbers are going to start to converge, causing, in my opinion, more renters to think about jumping back into the US housing market. Now, we'll see what happens in the upcoming years, but that's my prediction for 2024 and 2025. Now, when we look at this chart, I've referenced this chart many times, but I think it shows where the problem markets are, or the potential problem markets are in the United States. When we take a look at Texas and Florida, really anywhere, even up here in Washington and Idaho, where inventory is higher, where there's more homes on the market right now than there were in 2019. We can see here by the mortgage purchase application index here that the demand for mortgages, the demand for housing is far below where it was in 2019. So there's less people out there looking to buy properties. And because of that, if inventory is above 2019 levels and demand is below 2019 levels, we should see home prices come down in those areas as sellers can't find a buyer for their home and start cutting their price to incentivize buyers to come in and make that purchase. Now, here in the Northeast, in the Midwest, we see that inventory is still very, very low. We see here Wisconsin down 65% year over year, Illinois down 70% year over year, New York City down 51%, or excuse me, I said year over year, but it's since 2019, down 51% since 2019. So there's very little inventory in those markets. And even though demand is low, even though these purchase applications, these mortgage purchase applications are very low, and there aren't many people out there purchasing properties, there's still more people who want to buy properties in these markets than there are homes for sale. And that's what's keeping home prices stable, nationally speaking. So to summarize this all up, yes, mortgage purchase applications are low. They're at a 30-year low. Demand is very low right now. There aren't many people out there who want to purchase properties. That being said, this will likely only affect markets that have a drastic oversupply in inventory, right? The biggest indicator of home prices coming down is how many homes are on the market and what is the month supply of homes on the market. The month supply is the ratio between home buyers and home sellers. Now, I don't have good data for the month supply in each of these specific markets, but I would speculate that counties that have more inventory on the market right now than they did in 2019 have a higher month supply of inventory on the market, meaning that the ratio between home buyers and sellers is starting to shift more into the buyer's favor, and that's turning into a buyer's market, which could cause home prices to decrease in those markets. But overall, throughout the national housing market, throughout the US, we're not likely to see home price declines. Now, this is why it's very important to know your specific market, because where you are is going to behave very differently from where I am, from where somebody is in California or Hawaii or Idaho. All of those markets behave differently. So understand what's going on in your market. Are you in a market that's oversupplied? Are you in a market that's undersupplied? And use that to make the best decision with your home purchase or sale. Anyway, thank you folks so much for watching. Leave me a comment. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you in the next video.